So I'm going to talk to y'all about the spiritual meaning of ants today. And I'm trying to make these videos as good for me as I hope that they'll be as good for you. You know what I mean? Like, I just want it to be very, informative but relaxed. Like, I'm trying to, I want to give you the information, but a chill format. So don't expect it to be very, straightforward informational, but I do have notes, but it'll be some pauses in between and, all of that. So just so that you know. So, the spiritual meaning of ants. So they represent patience, teamwork, and diligence. So when I think patience, I think of how hard they work, how many of them that there are, right, in an ant colony, and the work that it takes for them to literally do anything that ants do, right? Like, they have to go, they travel far, they travel in big groups to find the food, right? And then they have to travel back to the colony to bring it back. So it's like this idea of drop by drop, day by day, morsel by morsel, right? Just the time that it takes to build something, to build a colony, to build a body of work, right? To just build anything. It's like a patient day by day. So that's one thing that ants represent. If you see them, that could be a nudge from the Most High saying, yeah, it might not. And this has been a big theme lately, which is funny for me. It makes sense for me, just where I'm at, even with my channel. It's a day by day, drop by drop situation. It also represents teamwork. They represent teamwork, right? Like, they're a community, and they all have different jobs, different things that they do. I learned that there's honeypot ants, and their job is to just literally sit, eat the sugar that is collected, and then create this, this sugar thing in their belly, and then so that they can feed it back to the other ants and to the queen. Like, that's literally their job, is to just eat the sugar, lay there, and then turn it into food for everybody else. That made me think of chefs in our own society, in human society. So it's like every ant has their own job, and they all work together to make the colony work. Then they also represent diligence. So they're very tenacious, although they're very small. It's like even though they're that small, I learned they can carry up to 50 times their body weight. They can swim. So it's like they're very, they do more than we think that they do. We just smash them with our fingers, but they're very, very powerful. Yeah. It was funny, I was driving the other day and I just saw the store Safeway. But what I saw, and then, how they have the S. So whenever I see the S, I think of Sowilo, the rune Sowilo, and then Safeway. And so to me, that represented doing something the safe way, like not being an overnight success, the safe way is the building way. It's making me think of, yeah, you can just toss a bunch of blocks together and lazily glue them together, or you can, and then have a crappy foundation, or you can really take the time that it takes to layer until you have that foundation. And it takes longer, but it is better, right? It's not gonna fall and break on you. So I feel like that was what that was saying to me, or that's what that meant for me. Safe way, like doing something the safe way. So we love success, right? And that's what that rune is, success. So among other things. And then I'm thinking of like, the idea of an overnight success when it comes to like fame, like they were an overnight success. And I honestly don't think that that's really true. I don't think that that's a real thing. I think that's a perception that they want us to see, right? Like, it looks like an overnight success to you if you're sitting, on your bed, on your tablet or whatever, and you just all of a sudden see them in a music video or on their first television show. And it's like, or first commercial or whatever. And it's like, oh, the overnight success, but it's like, nah, it wasn't. I don't think anybody really has that. I don't really think anyone has that. And if it is, it can easily crumble. It can easily crumble or be messed with, whatever. So ants could represent for you a message to be willing to see your journey. Like see just the overall growth of it, instead of expecting it to be an overnight thing. Yeah. So another thing, I thought this was funny, ants don't have ears. So they don't, like, they can't, it's like they don't hear sound that way. They're actually use the sound of the vibration, like they're sensitive to the vibration of sound. So that's how they hear, but they don't have actual ears for sound. And to me, that said, like, drowning out the haters, like, not having to kind of put your head down and work and do stuff and not be able to hear the little, like, bothersome whatever is about wherever you're at in your life. You know what I mean? So I thought that that was interesting too. That's just what that made me think of. And then also being sensitive to the vibrations of it, that just made me think also, like, the spiritual vibrations just in general, of like paying more attention to that than the sound of, what people are talking about, especially when you're trying to get stuff done, like how easily we can get distracted just by anything, any video, any sound. Like I've been easily distracted, just like a sound. And I'm trying to see what the sound is. Like I'm so easily distracted, which is funny as I'm trying to do what I'm doing right now. Like it's just like how life works, Yeah. So I also learned, there's so many different kinds of ants. I learned there's pharaoh ants, which I just thought was interesting, and that they grow very, very big colonies, like very large colonies of ants. And then you have like your regular in-house ants, the black ones. And then there's fire ants, which are the red ones that are like, can really sting you. Funny story, when I was a kid, I think I stepped on about 6 fire ant hills in a row. Now, I'm wondering, was that bad luck or not? What that was really trying to tell me. It's fun. I was like on a vacation with my family, visiting my dad's side of the family, and I'm walking up the hill, and I just saw all these little hills. I didn't know what ant hills were yet, and then I just stepped on all 6 of them. So I just stepped on one, kept walking, stepped on the next one, kept walking. And then on the last one, I lingered there because I didn't know they were ant hills. So I'm like, okay, I'm just stepping on these little hills. Like I was thinking another kid built them. Like it's just like stupid little hills. All these ants start climbing up my leg and biting the shit out of my leg. And I'm like, screaming and not pushing them off, but like waiting for my parents to run over and push them off. I was like 7 or something, but I hella wonder, like, was that I don't know if that was an omen. Like nothing really, nothing bad happened on that vacation. Like it was, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It was an okay vacation, things were good. I don't remember anything going crazy when I got back, but I just wonder what that represented for me. Like, and why I was stepping on those ant hills. anyways though, so I think they were fire ants, and so fire ants can represent like I guess just like a more extreme version, you know, like that. I think their bite hurts more, and that they're just a little bit more I mean, just think about the element of fire, right? Like their purpose, they're a little bit probably more aggressive, a little bit more, you know, whatever. And so if you see fire ants, I've heard that that can be an omen of something a little bit more combative, or like combative work. um it kind of made me think of like even the army, or like hackers, like just kind of like everybody has a, maybe not necessarily the army, but you could think of it of that, of like everybody has a goal for like an abrasive cause or an aggressive combative cause, right? Like that's kind of what that made me think of. But also I'm thinking of like Google or big corporations, not so much for fire ants, but just a colony of ants in general, that they, um, you know, it's like a big corporation energy is what I think of when I think of a colony of ants. I also learned that ants are enslavers, and that they will kidnap ants from other colonies for work. That's what made me think of the army low-key a little bit, and then also other like big corporation energies, you know? And then it made me think even on a bird's eye view, right? Like let's say a bigger entity than us that can see Earth from a large, faraway point of view, maybe could see Earth, and if they could zoom in, we would look like ants. And honestly, the way that we run our society is kind of a very ant-like way, you know? Ants could also represent, though, even more, like less on a big corporation level, but just a community level of working in a community, as a community, to help the community, right? Like needing each other to get things done, as opposed to just doing things all on your own, you know, being like that solo dolo worker, compared to everybody has one goal. They help each other. I saw a picture where they can like cross air by hanging on to each other's little legs or whatever, to make like a bridge to get across. I was like, they're crazy. Like they work really hard. And so I thought that was so like kind of funny, but it's like, I don't know, we could probably all afford to work together, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like we've all become so like, maybe I can just speak from personal experience, you know, thinking I'm better off working alone. But I feel like the Most High maybe is pushing people to learn how to work together. It's like we've become so internet comfortable, and just like, I upload, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Me, like I'm growing my shit, it's me, right? But if you see ants, or even if you see this video, I'm hoping that like when people see these videos is when that they need information about this particular animal, insect, whatever, right? So you might need to consider, you know, teamwork as opposed to doing it all on your own, right? And think about like what happens to an ant when it's all by itself. Like it's not, it doesn't, its life isn't, you know, it has a shorter lifespan, I feel like, right? Even like it's less safe when it's working by itself. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like to be afraid of working alone, but just that maybe it could even mean opportunities are coming in for you, that you can work as a team, and to be open for that, right? Yeah. I also learned that like when the queens mate, they don't live long after that, or something like that. Or like when the females, it's like there's the males, then the female ants, and then there's the queen ant. And the queen ant also can live for like 30 years. Like longer, I think, than any insect. A whole 30 years. So it's like if you step on one of them, it's bad luck. So I'm thinking about all those ant hills that I stepped on. I'm hoping that like the karma work that I've done cleared some of that out, because I'm like, that couldn't be good. That couldn't be good. But I didn't know. Like it wasn't a malicious whatever. So yeah. And that also that the queen ants are very, very giving as well. Like that's I feel like why they're the queens. Like it's like they really are like, you know, worthy queens. Like I feel like that's what I was reading. I'm trying to remember. But that they're like very giving. They're giving. And so that could also represent could even be like a smile from the Most High that like, you know, like you're a giving queen, like you're a giving queen, like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So that could be something for someone too, you know, like an appreciation, proud of you for your queenly ways, your kind giving ways, right? So yeah, that's basically all of the notes that I took down. Take note of when you see ants, and I hope this video gave you some confirmation, some information, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.